Hey, welcome to our tutorial on tadasana. Tadasana, samasthihi, mountain pose, it's the foundation for everything that we do in our yoga posture. So if we can get our tadasana right, grounded, connected, and reaching tall like a mountain up to the sky, we're pretty much going to be set for every single posture that we go to learn during our practice, because everything starts from tadasana. So we're going to come to the center of our mat, and I'm lucky enough to have a little mandala marked on mine. This is my trusty travel mat, goes in the washing machine, it doesn't mind being folded or rolled, it always comes back, and it's as light as, I think it only weighs about 500 grams, so super duper light, maybe even lighter. So I'm going to start in my tadasana and I'm going to gaze down at my toes. And the first thing I'm going to do is just check that my toes and my heels are connected. Then I'm going to roll to the outside of my feet. I'm going to lift my toes from the earth. As I internally rotate my legs and draw the whole foot back down to the earth, I'm still lifted the toes, I've spread the toes, and then I'm going to release the toes down to the mat. So tadasana is a very personal thing, and everyone's tadasana is going to vary just that little bit. So I want you to think about feeling that connection of grounding down into the earth. So you can sway your body weight forward and back until you kind of just feel where your center is. And when you find that place that's your center, I want you to connect a little deeper into the earth. So really feel the whole sole of the foot connected down. We can say that there's 4 corners of the feet. So this front 2 just behind the back toes here. The outside, which just sits beyond the pinky here. The outside of the heel and the inside of the heel. So they're the 4 points that I want connected. Now for some people, just having a slight gap in the back of the heels and having the toes connected allows the hip structure to sit a little better. Now, you may even find that for you, your tadasana, maybe you feel a little bit off balance when you're in that really closed or the feet joined together variation of tadasana. So you can step the feet apart just slightly, or if you're bringing them together again, have that little gap in the heels behind you at the base there. So my tadasana does allow me to stand with my heels and toes touching. I've got my toes spread down into the earth, and I'm feeling that grounded connection down into the earth. Because what happens is we shoot that energy down, and just like a plant that shoots the roots down into the earth, and then we're taking or drawing that energy back up from the earth so that we can grow into our other postures. So not only is there a physical reasoning for it, but there's a philosophical side to it as well, as there is with everything in our yoga practice. So we're grounding down into the feet. The next thing that we want to do is I'm just going to teach you a little bit about padabandha, which is a foot lock. So we can come to padabandha by, if you lift the toes, automatically what's going to happen is you're going to lift the arches in the feet, and then you're going to feel the outside knife edge of the foot press into the earth, and you can feel that inside edge of the foot press in there too. So those 2 front points, the inside front point and the outside front point are still touching, and you can feel the arch of the foot lifted. So that's our padabandha. As we ground down in that padabandha, what happens is that we can feel the energy lift up through the shins. We're then lifting the kneecaps and pulling up into the thighs. So you can really feel that lovely leg lift through the front body there. Then as we start to draw the tummy into the spine, what we want to feel is that posterior tilt of the pelvis. Now I'm going to just turn side on for you, and in our padabandha I've got that lifted, I've got that drawing up through the front body, and then this is our anterior tilt and this is our posterior tilt. So we want to be drawing the hips down towards the earth. So what I'm going to get you to do here is just stick the feet hip width apart, stay with your padabandha for a moment, and then when you feel grounded and connected in this space, release that padabandha, so release out of that posture. So from here, you can actually, it might be a little bit easier to feel that anterior tilt and the posterior tilt, where you're actually drawing the pelvis down towards the earth. So that feeling like you're grounding and connecting down there. And what happens is you can activate the inside of the thighs, feeling like there's a little bit of rotation here as you internally rotate the legs and draw the hips physically down towards the earth. So it's quite a challenging posture. You know, a lot of people just say, you can say, oh, just tuck the pelvis, but what happens is that you end up with this kind of, you know, over tilt of the pelvis, and that's not really what we want. We want to feel that sensation of drawing the hips down. So whilst it is a posterior tilt, it's not like you move your hips to the left and the right. You get what I mean. We want to actually draw that down, and so that you feel the energy coming up through the front of the leg, that rotation here, and then the drawing of the hips and the pelvis down towards the earth. So it's actually quite a strong feeling through the hips here to feel that tadasana. Now the trick is that you're still going to maintain all those little connections that we talked about in the feet, of the energy drawing down and up. Now I can feel this quite strongly in my glutes here if I'm working this quite hard. So I'm just going to come back to the front space here. I'm going to take my pada bandha. You can just relax for a minute. Just have a little bit of a hip shake here. Get your Saturday night fever on. Okay, back to seriousness now. So, taking my tadasana, we want to feel like we've relaxed the shoulders. I'm taking pada bandha to set myself up. I'm allowing my toes to release back to the earth. Ground down and find that space or center. Feel the energy being sent down towards the earth, that grounded connection, like a tree, rooting down to rise up. And then I can feel the energy shifting up through my shins, lifting my kneecaps, all the way up, coming through my quadriceps to my hips. I'm feeling that slight grounding down of the hips, so that drawing of the hips down, so not a massive posterior tilt of the pelvis, just the grounding down of the hips. I'm feeling a little bit breadth being created in the hips. So sometimes with that posterior tilt, you can feel like it's like the glutes squeeze together and it wants to externally rotate the legs. Well, we want to bring the legs back, square the hips, and feel like we're actually spreading the base of the hips. I know that all sounds kind of a little esoteric or like some little micro adjustments in there, but once you become familiar with the posture and how your body's working in the posture, it's going to make a little bit more sense to you. Draw down into those legs. Tummy now coming into the spine. Feeling a slight lift through the chest. So at this point, I want you to raise your shoulders up, take them back, squeeze the shoulder blades slightly together, and now release the shoulders and hands float down by the side of the body. Here we start to draw up through the crown of the head, heading all the way up to the universe. There's a slight tuck in the chin so that we can feel that Sushumna Nadi, that connection right through from the Muladhara chakra to the crown chakra. And here we have our tadasana. So from this posture, if you are actually staying here for any length of time, guaranteed, if you are doing this posture correctly and working with all those micro adjustments, it's not going to be an easy posture to maintain. You are going to break a sweat. So from here, we can have our overhead reach, gazing drishti towards the thumbs. We can bring our hands to heart center. And this is a lovely starting place for any standing series where you'd like to set your intention for practice. Now that you're grounded and connected to the earth, the crown of the head is reaching up to the universe. You can set your intention and go from there. It's a really lovely spot for breathing and connecting in with the self if you need a break at any point in time during your practice. So there we have it, Tadasana. I will see you on the next tutorial.